Let me show you everything that, hi, can I help you? Hey guys, it's Jen. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another meal prep video. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Jen and I'm a full-time working mom. I love to meal prep. So on this channel, you'll find lots of home and food content. So I hope that you stick around. In today's meal prep, I'm actually going to be showing you an Aldi grocery haul with some of my most frequently purchased items for meal prep, as well as some dishes for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So what I'm planning on making today are some breakfast burritos. My kids have been really liking those lately, and I have two different kinds of tortillas, regular and whole wheat. I'm also planning on washing my produce and prepping some salads for my husband and I's lunch to take to work. I'm also going to be roasting up a spaghetti squash and making some turkey marinara to go with that, as well as a chicken curry that we can either take for lunch or have for dinner this week. If I have time, I'd also like to make some protein boxes and then possibly some blueberry muffins. So that is what I'm planning on making today. I'm first going to show you the grocery haul that I got actually delivered from Aldi, and I want to take a minute to thank Instacart for sponsoring today's video. If you guys have not heard of them, it is a great way to get groceries delivered right to your house in as fast as an hour. I actually got these groceries delivered last night. I think I placed my order maybe around 4 or 5 p.m. And I had them at 7 p.m., which was great because it saved me so much time at the store. Then this morning, I could just go ahead and start my meal prep without having to worry about grocery shopping. So make sure you check out the link in my description box below. There will be a link down there where you can download Instacart. It's super easy. I had no problems with it. I was able to find all of the items that I needed at my Aldi quite easily. So make sure you check it out and see what grocery stores are available in your area for delivery. Let's get started. Like I said, first I'm going to show you the groceries that I got delivered from Aldi. Again, these are some of my favorite and most used items for meal prep, and then we will get into the cooking. Okay, so let me show you all of the groceries that I got today delivered from Instacart from my Aldi for around $50. These are staples that I normally use in my meal prep, so I wanted to choose things that made simple meal prep dishes to share with you guys and things that I use most frequently. So I'm super happy with the quality of everything. The person that did my shopping and picked everything out did a great job. I had no substitutions, and even like the produce and stuff that I got was good quality, so I'm super happy about that. Okay, so the first thing that I ordered were some boneless, skinless chicken tenders. So these are great for meal prep. I know that a lot of people buy rotisserie chickens to do meal prep with. Personally, I am a bigger fan of white meat, and so I would rather just buy chicken tenders or chicken breast and then cook it myself. One way to cook this, if you were going to do it in a big batch, would be to just put it in your crock pot with some salt, pepper, garlic powder, maybe a little bit of butter, a little bit of chicken broth, and you can cook it on low for 4 hours or high for about 3 hours, and you will get perfectly tender chicken that you can shred up for like dishes or chicken salad. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to do a chicken curry with this, so I'm excited about that. But I will probably have some left over as well that I can grill up or cook up and use in salads in addition to that. I did get a block of sharp cheddar cheese. I use this a lot to make protein snack boxes in my meal prep. I'm also going to be making some breakfast burritos. So I did order a pound of their pork sausage. I have had this from Aldi before, and it's really good quality and it's a good price. I think it's only around $2. If you guys have watched my videos, you know that we love these turkey snack sticks from Aldi. I like to cut these up into smaller pieces, and I can put them in like protein snack boxes, and the kids can take them for lunches. Another dish that I'm going to make is going to be a ground turkey marinara with spaghetti squash. So I picked up one of these, or ordered one of these rather. So I've never roasted a spaghetti squash before, but I've been told to cut it horizontally this way instead of vertically, and that gives longer strands. So I'll roast that in the oven. Hopefully that turns out good. Eggs are another great item for meal prep. So I make the Starbucks like egg bites a lot, which I can link that video down below. I've had on my channel for a few years now. Today I'm going to be using these to make some, like I said, breakfast burritos. And if I have leftovers, I might do some hard-boiled eggs. Hard-boiled eggs are another great thing for meal prep. You can either, you know, prep them for breakfast, or sometimes we like to cut them up and make egg salad. I also got some romaine lettuce. So this is the best value in my opinion if you're going to prep a bunch of salads for your lunches at work. Romaine lettuce is really hardy, so it holds up great to meal prep, and I'll show you how I wash that and prep it. I did also pick up some of the Aldi ground turkey. This is 1 pound 3 ounces, so a little bit more than a pound, and I'm going to use this in my marinara sauce for my spaghetti squash, so that will be delicious. And then I also got some tomatoes because I want to prep some salads. These are also great to do like little veggie packs with ranch, you know, to prepare in advance. These are also one of my favorites from Aldi, the little mini cucumbers. I like buying these because the peel is not waxy and they have less seeds. My kids love eating these cut up with ranch. We like putting them on salads. You can also cut them up and use them as like a cracker substitute if you want to make like some, you know, homemade Lunchable type thing and you're doing low carb. I did order 1 jar of tomato basil sauce, and then to stretch it a little bit, I just ordered 2 cans of tomato sauce. So what I'll do is brown up my ground turkey and then put this tomato basil sauce in there, add a little bit of extra tomato sauce, and then I can kind of doctor up the seasonings with what I have on hand. I'll probably put garlic powder. I do have some fresh herbs in my herb pot, so maybe some thyme, rosemary. We'll just have to see how that turns out. Grapes are another great thing for meal prep. They are great to wash up and have in your refrigerator, and then I like to put them in my protein snack boxes too. The other thing I do is I make like little snack packs with sharp cheddar cheese and grapes together. Really, really good. I got some croutons for my salads. Croutons are a great value at Aldi. I think they're only like $1 or something like that. For my salads, I'm going to make some homemade ranch just because it tastes so much better. So this is the ranch seasoning packet from Aldi. I'll just mix it with milk, mayo, and maybe some extra herbs. I usually like to put extra dill in, maybe some extra garlic powder. I did also pick up a bag of pistachios for the protein snack boxes I want to make, and then cottage cheese. This is a great side, honestly, for breakfast. I eat it a lot for breakfast, and then too, this makes a great low carb side for the marinara and spaghetti squash that I'm going to make. So I like to portion this out into little containers, and then Adam and I can take it to work. Aldi has really actually decent cottage cheese. I always buy the 4%. It's really good. I also got 2 packages of lunch meat, so Black Forest ham and turkey breast. This will be for, like I said, if I want to do like a homemade snack pack with cheese and crackers and meat. One thing I also like to do is cut this up and put it on salads. So if you're making like a Cobb type salad, you could do hard-boiled eggs with your ham and veggies and ranch. Really good. And then last but not least, I picked up 2 tortilla options. So for Adam, he has been trying to eat a little bit more low carb lately, not keto, but just trying to do more healthy whole wheat options. So I did pick up some of these Fit and Active 100% whole wheat flour tortillas. There's 10 of them in here, and they are 120 calories per tortilla, and I believe 20 grams of carbs. And then these are just regular flour tortillas. My kids have been liking to have, they call them breakfast tacos, but they're actually just kind of like a breakfast burrito. So these are just the regular medium soft taco tortillas. So when I make my breakfast burritos, I'll probably just do like half whole wheat and half regular flour. So that is everything I got from Instacart. I'm super happy with the delivery process and the quality of the ingredients. I even thought the delivery fees were super reasonable. So it's definitely something that I would recommend. If you guys have it in your area, definitely check it out, download the app, and see how much time you can save. I know that especially when you're busy and you want to do meal prep, it's really nice to just have this stuff delivered and not have to worry about, you know, searching through the grocery store, finding it for yourself. So let's get into the meal prep. So the first thing that we're going to get started on meal prepping is some breakfast burritos. If you guys have never prepped these before, they are great to throw either into your refrigerator or freezer, and they heat up super quickly during the week. My kids and my husband and I all love them. So I'm starting out with a nonstick skillet that I have drizzled with a little bit of olive oil, and I'm going to heat that up and crumble up a pound of breakfast sausage in here. I'm using my Pampered Chef Mix and Chop. I'll link this in the description box below. This tool is great when you are sauteing and cooking any kind of ground beef. It really helps you break it up and cook it evenly. So since I'm using breakfast sausage for this burrito recipe, I do want to make sure that I drain that on a paper towel lined plate. You could also use bacon or ham or any other meat that you have for this particular recipe. If you're using bacon, I would definitely recommend draining it as well. So the next step is to beat up my eggs. So I am going to be making about 8 breakfast burritos, and these are going to be on the larger size. So I'm using 10 eggs. I went ahead and cracked those into a bowl. I'm just adding a splash of half and half, some salt and some pepper. I'll get those beaten up and into a skillet. I did rinse out my skillet and wipe it out so that it was clean. I will spray it with some cooking spray and then add my eggs. When you're scrambling eggs, you just want to make sure that you scramble them slowly. So I really only have this over about medium heat. I have this tool. I'm not sure what exactly it's called, but it's like a really large silicone fork, and this tool is really helpful for scrambling eggs. I'll try to find one online and link it down below, but if you don't have that, obviously any wooden spoon or spatula will work. So I'm just going to scramble those eggs until they are completely cooked, and then I will add my sausage back in. You could also add other vegetables to this if you wanted to. You could add mushrooms, peppers, onions. I'm actually going to be making 2 batches of these breakfast burritos, one for my daughter and one for my husband and I. My daughter doesn't like anything in hers except sausage and egg, so I'm choosing to leave those ingredients out, but feel free to customize this to your family's tastes. So I'm going to get started assembling my burritos. I am starting out using my regular plain flour tortillas. I am just laying them out on my counter and spooning a little bit of the filling on the inside. I'll wrap up the sides to close them and then roll them up just like you would a regular burrito. I'll set those off to the side, and eventually we'll end up wrapping them up in some parchment paper. I do like to use parchment paper because these will be reheated in the microwave, and I don't want to take the chance of wrapping them in foil and then having my kids put foil in the microwave. That would not be a good plan. So I'm just going to tear off a few smaller sheets of parchment paper and get those rolled up. And next I will work on the whole wheat version, which are for my husband and I. So with the remainder of the filling, I'm going to make some burritos on some whole wheat tortillas. I put a little bit of shredded cheese on the bottom of there before I spooned the filling in. And next I'm putting some salsa on the top. These are a little bit more heavily filled than the other ones, so they may be a little bit harder to wrap. You could use burrito-sized tortillas if you wanted to, but this is what I had, so that's what I am using. Definitely make sure that you don't overfill these, otherwise it will probably be impossible to wrap them up. But these are the perfect size for a weekday breakfast. And definitely the cheese and the salsa in there is something that I like, not necessarily something that my kids like. My kids would like the cheese, but probably not so much the salsa. So once those are rolled up, I am getting some more parchment paper. This actually turned out to be a different color because I ran out of my other white parchment paper, which is actually kind of apropos since these were whole wheat and I'm wrapping them in like a craft color of parchment paper. But anyway, I'm just going to finish rolling these up and I'll put them in a Ziploc bag. So if you keep these in the refrigerator, they will last for about a week, and you can reheat these in the microwave for about 45 seconds to a minute, depending on how high power your microwave is. You can also pop these in the freezer. If you're going to cook them from frozen, I might recommend defrosting them a little bit first before you cook them. Otherwise, sometimes if you cook tortillas from frozen in the microwave, they tend to get a little dried out. Hopefully the parchment paper would keep that from happening, but you'll just have to play around with it and see what the timing is for your own particular microwave.
As we face misconceptions, picture perfect, a balanced blend and some pretend.
All right, so here are my completed burritos. My family and I have been eating these for several days now, and they turned out delicious. I went ahead and cooked one up on this day just to show you guys how they turned out. They are really good. Simple, but really good. Serve it with some salsa and you are good to go. So with the remaining 2 eggs that I had from Aldi, I'm going to just go ahead and boil those up as hard-boiled eggs, and then I can use them in salads and protein boxes. So how I like to hard-boil my eggs on the stove is put them in a pot, bring them to a boil, and turn the stove off. Once they have sat in that hot water for about 15 minutes, you can take them out, remove them to a bowl of cold ice water, and let them sit for about 10 minutes until they're easy to peel. The next recipe that I'm going to show you is a turkey marinara with spaghetti squash. So I'm going to start out by roasting my spaghetti squash. This will take about 45 minutes to an hour, depending on the size of your squash. I have read a couple different recipes online that says if you cut your spaghetti squash horizontally instead of vertically, it will allow the strands of spaghetti squash to be longer, more like pasta. So that's what I went ahead and did, and it worked out great. So I just cut that in half, and I'm kind of using my knife and my spoon to scoop out the seeds, sort of like you would a pumpkin. That's what it reminded me of, since it was just Halloween a couple weeks ago. That's definitely what it reminded me of. So I'm just going to do that, and then I will show you how I'm going to season it and get it into the oven. So I'll be sure to post the original recipe for this roasted spaghetti squash down below, but basically I'm just drizzling it with some olive oil and seasoning it with salt and pepper. You do want to make sure that you season this generously because the spaghetti squash obviously by itself is very bland. It has no taste really, except it tastes like a little bit like squash, obviously. So I just put that cut side down, and I'm going to pop it into the oven, and I'm going to cook it for 45 minutes. I actually put it in while the oven was still preheating and ended up cooking it for an hour just because I think I had a larger spaghetti squash, but definitely check on it and just cook it until the inside is tender. So for my marinara sauce, I'm going to use some ground turkey. You could also use ground sausage or ground beef, whatever you prefer. I'm going to dice up 1 yellow onion. I did recently get some new knives from, I ordered them online just because I'm testing out some different types of kitchen knives that are more affordable. I know that many people struggle with chopping vegetables, and so I wanted to provide a more affordable resource as far as knives go. So keep a lookout for that. I will have a holiday gift guide video out in December, but the brand of these are Xylus, so I will leave a link to those down below. I'm also going to mince up about 3 cloves of garlic. I'm just using the side of my knife to crack that open, peel it, and then mince it up finely, and I'll get it into the pan with my ground turkey and a little bit of olive oil. So I'm going to saute up my onion and garlic just a little bit before I add the ground turkey in, just because I'm someone that doesn't really care for like crunchy veggies in my marinara sauce, but you can definitely throw them in at the same time or throw your onions in later if you'd like. So I'm going to put the ground turkey in, and then again, I'm going to use my Pampered Chef Mix and Chop to get that chopped up and sauteing. I'm also going to season this with some salt and some pepper. You can also season it with some Italian seasoning and some garlic powder if you'd like, but basically just cook this until all of the pink is out of the ground turkey. I'm using kind of a larger pot, like a Dutch oven, just because I know that I'm going to add some marinara sauce to this, and I wanted to make sure that I had a large enough pot. For this particular ground turkey, I did not have to drain it. I always get a lot of questions on whether or not I drain my ground meat. It all just depends on the fat content of it. This was 93.7 lean ground turkey, I believe. And if you saute it long enough, the liquid in the water will cook off of it. And this is lean enough that you really don't have to drain it. But if you want to, you totally could. That's up to your preference. So I'm adding 1 jar of marinara sauce. I did put a little bit of hot water in there and shake it around just to get it all out. And then 2 8-ounce cans of tomato sauce. Again, this is just a great way to stretch out 1 jar of marinara sauce, and then just season that to your taste. So I think I added about a teaspoon of sugar, some extra salt and pepper. I added garlic powder, some ground thyme, rosemary, sage, just whatever Italian herbs that you have, and just season it to your liking. I did simmer this with the lid on for about 30 minutes just to make sure that the ground turkey was tender. And here's a look at my spaghetti squash when it was all roasted and came out of the oven. So make sure that you let this spaghetti squash cool before you try to scrape out the insides of it, because it is very hot. But you can see there how well that the strands of squash scrape out with a fork. I'm just putting them onto a plate, making sure that I scrape out everything so I don't waste any. I did taste this and I felt like it was still a little bit bland, so I went ahead and put it back on the sheet tray, and I'm just going to season it with a little bit of salt and pepper. So this was really good with the marinara sauce, but I think I would like to try it with Alfredo sauce too. If you guys have some favorite recipes or methods of making spaghetti squash, let me know in the comments below, because I definitely thought it was a good flavor and I want to try out some more recipes. So to make this into a meal prep, I just have 2 glass containers here. When I'm doing a meal prep that I have to reheat, I always make sure that I put it in a glass container rather than plastic. And I'm just topping that with some of my turkey marinara, and then I'm going to put some shredded Parmesan cheese on top. So if you're doing low carb or keto, this is definitely a great meal prep for you to do in advance. You could actually make this for a dinner meal prep too for your whole family if you wanted. Adam and I both took one of these to lunch and we really enjoyed it. So that's it for those 2 meal preps. For the remainder of the spaghetti squash, I went ahead and packed that into a separate container and put it in the refrigerator for a different use. I also wanted to pack us up some cottage cheese to go with this meal. These containers are actually just extra from Home Chef. I know if you're a nurse, they look like specimen containers to me. But anyway, they make a great repurposing for cottage cheese. For the extra turkey marinara, I just went ahead and put that in a Ziploc bag, and I will freeze that for a later use. So next up, I'm going to show you guys how I wash my greens, and then I'm also going to show you how I prep my salad. Today I am making a Cobb salad. So to get started, I'm going to make some homemade ranch dressing. I'm just putting a cup of milk in my bowl here, along with the ranch seasoning packet that I got delivered by Instacart from Aldi. Next, I'm going to add about a cup of mayonnaise. I'm not measuring this, I'm just kind of eyeballing it. I had a little bit of Duke's left, and then I'm adding a little bit of light Hellmann's mayo. I always like to season my homemade ranch dressing with extra dill and some garlic and sometimes some paprika and pepper and salt. I usually find that it tastes better that way, but definitely just do it to your tastes. So once that is all mixed together, you can go ahead and pour it into a container and refrigerate it. You definitely want to make this ahead of time because the flavors will develop and get better as they sit in the refrigerator. So this dressing container is actually one that I got free like so many years ago. I feel like it was from one of those Good Seasonings Italian dressing boxes. Let me know if you know what I'm talking about. So I put some of it in there, and then the rest of it, just extra I put in these little dressing cups, and then those will go into my salad container. So next step is to get my romaine lettuce washed up. So I always prefer to chop and wash my own salad greens. I just feel like it's more sanitary. I know that it's been washed properly, and they stay so much fresher in my refrigerator. So I'm just chopping up 2 hearts of romaine and putting those into my salad spinner. You guys that have watched my videos for a long time are probably like, oh my God, if I have to see you wash lettuce one more time, I'm going to lose it. But I know I always have new people watching my videos and subscribing, so bear with me. I'm putting the lettuce in the salad spinner and squeezing a lemon over the top. This will help to not only clean the lettuce, but also keep it from browning in the refrigerator. I just soak that in cold water in the salad spinner for about 10 minutes and then drain it and spin it dry, and that is it. This will keep in your refrigerator for about 3 to 5 days, just depending on how fresh the lettuce was and the temperature of your refrigerator. So for this salad, I went ahead and put some romaine into the bottom of my salad container. I do not know, I'm sorry, where I got this particular plastic container. I got it so many years ago that I can't remember. Next, I'm chopping up some turkey and some ham and putting that on there. You could use any kind of lunch meat that you have on hand, or you could also use grilled chicken breast or grilled salmon if you had it left over. I'm going to chop up 1 of the hard-boiled eggs that I made and put that on top as well. I also like to put some tomato, cucumbers, and shredded cheese, but you can totally customize this with whatever vegetables that you have in your refrigerator. I'm also going to add some croutons to my salad because I love croutons with my salad, but if you're doing low carb, you could totally leave those out. So here is my complete Cobb salad prepped. This was so delicious. This is the kind of salad that makes me excited to eat my lunch at work. Okay, so the next recipe that I'm going to show you is a quick and easy chicken curry. If you've never made this before, don't worry, it's totally doable and you can definitely do it and it's delicious. So I really like potatoes in my curry. I can remember there were a few folks that went to our church when I was growing up that would make authentic chicken curry, like yellow chicken curry, and they would always put potatoes in it. And it's something that I still love to have in my curry to this day. And so what I'm doing here is just taking 1 russet potato, peeling and cubing that, and I'm going to boil it until it's tender and add that once my curry is almost complete. So for this, you could use chicken thighs or chicken breasts, whatever you would like. I prefer white meat, and so I'm just using the chicken breast tenders that I got from Aldi and chopping those up into about 1-inch pieces. I will go ahead and saute these in some olive oil. I'm going to season them with salt and some pepper before I saute them. Just make sure that anytime you're sauteing meat like this, you want to make sure that you season it before you put it in the pan. That will make sure that your dish has lots of flavor. I also added a little bit of garlic powder as well. So I just have a skillet heated over about medium-high heat with some olive oil, like I said. And I'm going to start browning that chicken. I will also add the other half of the onion that I didn't use for the marinara sauce. That will give your curry a great flavor as well. And next, I'm going to chop up a green pepper for this. So this is my own recipe for curry, but I'll type this out in the description box below so you guys can recreate it if you want to. It's very flexible in terms of what veggies you add. So whatever you kind of have laying around in your fridge is great to add to this. If you wanted to add zucchini or maybe, I don't know, other colors of peppers, some more onion, some eggplant, whatever you have turns out great in here. I'm going to add some frozen peas, and then next I'm going to add my red curry sauce. So this particular red curry sauce came from Walmart. I just had it in my pantry. I wanted to use it up. Aldi does sell a chicken tikka masala sauce that's not exactly the same, but it will work in this recipe as well if you just want to shop at Aldi. I'm also adding 1 can of coconut milk to this. And then I'm just going to let this simmer over low heat until the chicken is tender. I'm going to go ahead and add my potatoes in there just to make sure that those soak up some of the sauce and get seasoned as well. after it's had a chance to cook together, you'll just want to taste this and see if it needs any more seasoning. I did go ahead and add some more curry powder. This is just regular yellow curry powder that I had in my cupboard. And here is the completed dish. So what I ended up doing with this is just putting it in a large glass container, and I stuck this in the refrigerator, and I was able to warm it up a different night, and we had it with rice for dinner. It was delicious. Even my kids like it. It's not too spicy. So if you haven't tried curry before, definitely try this recipe. Okay, so next I'm going to get some of my fruit washed up and make some snack boxes. So grapes are another great meal prep idea just because they hold up so well in the refrigerator after you wash them. So I'm going to go ahead and take these off of the stems and put them in my salad spinner. If I didn't mention before, this is an OXO salad spinner. I'll link the one that I have down below, but just make sure that while you're taking your grapes off of the stems that you don't leave any of like the mushy, rotten grapes in there. Just kind of sort and pick through them while you're putting them in there. So after you get all your grapes picked off, you're going to go ahead and add a healthy splash of white vinegar. You could use apple cider vinegar in a pinch. I've done that before too. And then just soak these in the vinegar and really cold water for about 15 to 20 minutes. You'll find that grapes are very dirty. They often have like a waxy coating on them, and so it's very important to get them washed thoroughly. I also rinse them and then drain them, and then I'm just putting them in a Ziploc bag with a paper towel. So this is a very simple snack or breakfast or lunch idea to meal prep. Personally, I would probably like to have something with this if I had it for breakfast or lunch, but it's a great, healthy snack option, especially to keep in the refrigerator for you or your kids or whoever during the work and school week. Some people say that it's very silly, like why would you just put grapes and cheese into a container and have it in your fridge? But honestly, this is what helps us eat healthier. This is what helps us keep from eating chips and cookies and different things like that. And it's great to just be able to throw this in your bag in the morning when you go to work and know that you have a healthy snack waiting for you in the afternoon when you get hungry. So I'm just having some sharp cheddar cheese and grapes in here. These are Sistema containers. I will link them down below. So next I'm going to make up some more protein boxes. These are a little bit more substantial. So sometimes my kids take these for part of their lunch, or sometimes my husband and I take these for part of our lunch also. I'm just cutting up some cheese. I have some Colby Jack and some sharp white cheddar cheese into one of the sections of these easy lunchbox containers. I've mentioned these before in my videos, but I really like them for making things like this. I'll link them down below. I have these turkey sticks that I also got from Aldi. You guys saw that earlier, as well as some pistachios. So I'm going to fill the containers with these, and next I will add some grapes, and that is it. This is a super quick prep, but it's also a very healthy, high protein snack to have in your refrigerator. We end up taking these to school and work, and we also took some to a swim meet this weekend. So those are all completed. I actually had one extra hard-boiled egg, so I added that one to one of them, but these are great. I would definitely recommend prepping them. Okay, so last but not least, I'm going to show you my favorite recipe for blueberry muffins. This recipe is from allrecipes.com, and I'll link it down below. I had some blueberries in the freezer that I wanted to use up, and so this is what I decided to do with them. So in a large mixing bowl here, I added some flour and some sugar. I'm also going to add some salt and some baking powder, and then I will just stir that together with a fork to get all of the dry ingredients combined. For the wet ingredients, you'll need some vegetable oil or some canola oil. You'll also need one egg, and then also to that, I'm going to add some milk. I was actually out of milk when I was filming this, so I added half and half instead, and it worked out fine. But that's it. Besides the blueberries, obviously, for the muffins, we're going to put some streusel topping on top of them. But I like this recipe because they turn out great. It's not super complicated. I've seen some blueberry muffin recipes that are just like overly complicated, and I'm not really into that when I'm making muffins. You can see I added a little bit of half and half there just because I thought that the mixture was a little bit dry. So you can do that if you need to. And I'm going to add my frozen blueberries. These were a little bit thawed out. I just had them sitting out on the counter. So it did turn the batter a little bit purple, but that's fine. It doesn't bother me. I have my muffin tin here. I'm going to go ahead and line these with just some paper liners, and then I'll spray them with just a little bit of cooking oil spray just to make sure that they don't stick. And then I like to use an ice cream scoop with a trigger to evenly put these out into the muffin tins. I find that that's the easiest way to do it. If you don't have one of these, you could use two spoons or even a measuring cup if you wanted to. But if you make a lot of muffins and you bake a lot, especially, I would definitely recommend this. So once you get those all turned out into the muffin tin, you can add your streusel topping. So the only ingredients for this are some butter, some flour, and some cinnamon. So I'm just going to mix that together and then add that to the top of the muffins. I feel like maybe there's some sugar in there too. I can't remember. I don't have the recipe right in front of me, but like I said, I'll have it posted down below if you guys want to make this. So I'm just going to use a fork and sprinkle some of that streusel topping on top of the muffins. And I'm going to try to do that as evenly as possible, and then I'll get those in the oven. All right, so here is what these look like when they come out of the oven. I let them cool for a little bit in the pan and then remove them to a cooling rack. My kids definitely enjoyed these, and I took some to work and everyone enjoyed them as well. All right, so that is it for this week's meal prep video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I was very happy with everything that I was able to get done today. I actually, for once in my life, got everything crossed off on my list, and now we have breakfast, some lunches, and a dinner for this week. So don't forget to check out the description box below. There will be a link for you to download the Instacart app. Like I said, it was fabulous. I have no complaints. I will definitely be using it again, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.